We all dream of waking up in the morning and going, wow, today is going to be a great day. And our employers all dream of us waking up on Monday morning and go, wow, I get to go to work today. But see, the thing is that we worry a lot. We get frustrated. We have problems. And, well, let's look at problems. See, we tend to deal with our problems, right? So, by the end of this talk, what I want to make sure that you are going to have is not only information and knowledge on how to basically worry less and live more, but I will guarantee you that by the end of this talk, you are going to literally worry less. Because, see, most people deal with problems. That means that in order to deal with the problem, you already have the frustration. You already have the anger. You're in a situation where basically you're not feeling so good. And then you have to deal with it? I mean, what are you, Buddha or something? The amount of discipline that it takes once you've got a problem to deal with is not so easy. I mean, you are in a situation where stuff is going on around you. You want to go into a closet sometimes and lock the door because it's easier than strangling someone. So what happens is that if we are going to go with the same concept of emotional intelligence and deal with frustration, deal with our problems, that is not a good solution. See, we need to go to the root cause of the problems. See, if you understand why we get this frustration, why a lot of this anger, this problem, this worry comes from, we are able to support a life where we worry less and live more. So, where do problems come from? Over the past 18 years, I have managed to work with and ask over 600,000 people in 53 different countries a basic question. What is the root cause of your problems? So we get people to find out basically what their problems are and then go back and find out the root cause. And the majority, regardless of whether it's work-related, relationship-related, and even finance-related, the majority of the root cause of problems is people. And what that means is that because of people, we have more worry, more frustration in our lives. So, am I going to suggest that you go into the mountains and live by yourself? No, because that's no fun. Okay? But let's look at the root cause of the root cause, or at least one of the root causes. And that is our emotional drive. We are constantly trying to fill our emotional drives. Now, what are emotional drives? Right? Well, basically, these are motivators. All right? Okay, so an emotional drive affects how you focus on what you want. It affects how and why you make decisions. It affects how excited you are. From the very beginning, it's like, wow, is this great or what? And it affects how you pursue your dreams. It affects the gratitude that you have. But we, just like pretty much everyone else, is made up of a mix of different emotional drives. See, depending on what stages we are in our lives, these emotional drives change. And we have kind of a mix, kind of like pizza. Well, let's look at high performers in the food industry. So pizza would probably be up there as a high performer in the food world. But even just pizza, you've got different kinds of pizza. You got cheese pizza, you got pizza with 4 different kinds of cheese, you got pizza with pepperoni, you got pizza with anchovies. I mean, you got all kinds of pizzas. Okay, but then you also have other things that are high performers in the food world, like chocolate ice cream. I mean, think about it. Now, of course, even chocolate ice cream, I mean, if you use full cream, okay, and you use some dark, natural chocolate, and then you maybe add a little bit of vanilla just to kind of give it a little bit of extra flavor. So, depending on how you create that chocolate ice cream, it also has its own mix. The problem happens when we get into groups. See, as a high performer, pizza by itself is awesome. As a high performer, chocolate ice cream by itself is awesome. But you're not going to take the chocolate ice cream and put it on your pizza. Because then it turns out to be a better low-performing team. And see, our emotional drives and how they mix is going to create the platform of how happy, or for that matter, unhappy we may be. And so we find one big problem when we pursue our emotional drives. And that problem is need sucking. Now, I will guarantee that within the past week, you have been need sucked more than once. And I will guarantee that you've probably need sucked a whole bunch of people. Now, what is need sucking? Well, you know how you want to have a specific thing? You're thinking like, wow, okay, you're filling your emotional drives. Maybe you're filling your emotional drive for achievement. And somebody doesn't let you achieve. They take away that emotional drive. They take away that gratification. Now, here's the question. Are they those people that are taking away your emotional gratification for achieving something? Are they doing it on purpose? Do they wake up in the morning and say, all right, today my target is need suck 5 people. I am going to make their life miserable. Or is it possible that these people that are causing our problems, that are making us feel bad, that are taking away our emotional gratification, is it possible that maybe those people are doing it accidentally? They don't even realize it. They don't realize that they are need-sucking us. So let's look at need-sucking. So, the emotional need for security. I have a wife. Yes, it's true. And when we first got married, I drove my wife around in our car because I'm the man. And I needed to take care of my woman. Now, after a while, I started to notice that every time I would drive, my wife is like sitting like this. And I realized that maybe she didn't really like my driving. See, she has a high emotional drive for security, and well, I don't. And so, we had a conversation because she was really sweet. She didn't really want to tell me that my driving sucked. So what happened is that we decided that I was going to let her drive. Now, see, I had 2 choices at that time. I could choose to say, hey, I'm the man. And because I'm the man, I got to take care of you, my woman. And then she would have just felt insecure. She would have been need-sucked for her emotional need for security. And then that would have had other consequences in our relationship. But what I decided to do was take my ego put it in my pocket, and give her what she wanted. The emotional drive of security. Now, because I did that, I felt pretty good. Look, I am giving my wife security. She is feeling better about this. And that improved our relationship. I stopped need-sucking her for security. Now, let's look at the other one, the need-sucking for recognition. See, I used to live in Korea. If you've ever been to Korea, there are 43 million people in a reasonably small city in Seoul. And all of these people go to work every day. And most of them use the subway. So imagine how many people are walking in the subway during rush hour. Now, I don't know about you, but my mother, she told me that I should always be polite. And so, when I went into this subway, people would bump into me. And then I would say, "Excuse me," expecting, of course, that people would say, "Excuse me," back. But they didn't. And it happened again, and again, and again, and again. And after a while, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, Koreans are so rude. And then one day, it was just stressful even before I would go to work. Even before I started my journey, I was so stressed out. I would fantasize about buying a leather jacket with big sharp spikes on the shoulders. Get me now. And I would be stressed out when I got to work. Can you imagine being stressed out even before you arrive at your destination, how you're going to perform when you actually get there? But then I went to another city called Daejeon. Now, Daejeon is a much smaller city than Seoul. It's still pretty big. There's about 1 million people in Daejeon. And I'm going into this shop, and this old Korean lady just rushes out and brushes past me. And she says, "Oh, excuse me." And I'm like, oh my gosh, oh, no problem. Oh, you're so great. Wow, people in Daejeon are so much more polite than people in Seoul. And she looked at me and said, "What do you mean?" And I said, well, in Seoul, people just hit you and they just keep on walking. They don't say, "Excuse me," they don't say anything. And here you were just so sweet. And she says, "Oh, no. You don't understand Korean culture." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She says, "People in Seoul, they respect you. They respect your time. They don't want to spend time wasted for saying sorry, not like Japanese. They want to make sure you have time to go. No waste time. They respect you. That's why they don't say anything." And my brain's going like, see, all this time, I thought it was about being invisible. It's like, oh, it's discrimination. It's against me. I was feeling need-sucked for my emotional drive of recognition. That means that I was thinking that these people just made me small. And yet, now I realize that it wasn't about that. They were filling their emotional need for achievement. And I was misunderstanding it. And they were respecting my emotional drive for achievement. And I was misunderstanding that. But see, this little bit of knowledge, this little tiny bit of information changed my world. Every time after that I would go into the subway, Same subway, same trip, but now I'm walking along, people are hitting me. I'd say, excuse me, have a nice day. And I'd smile. Thank you for the respect. Yes, sir. Then, bam, thank you for the respect. Excuse me, see you later. Because I was aware things had changed. And then, of course, the emotional need for excellence. Now, see, the emotional need for excellence is a little bit different. Because, see, I've been traveling around the world and I have been speaking in a whole bunch of different places, and I was spending a lot of time away from my kids. And so I decided that I was going to build a resort and instead bring people to Bali, where I live. And so what happened was that we found this really cool piece of land, at least according to me. It was on a volcanic mountain. And it was this big, giant volcanic stone. And I'm looking at it, it's like, oh my gosh, I can see it. And my wife is, are you crazy? So I had this idea of creating this castle that was carved into this volcanic stone mountain and have all of these different carvings from all the different ancient cities of the world. And so my wife, thinking that I was basically wasting time and money, for 2 years was need-sucking me for my emotional need of excellence, telling me how, spending more money on that. But then they came. The photographers came. The video crews and movie guys came. People started doing high-end retreats. And then she said, oh, I guess you were right. And at that moment, I felt that I had achieved something. It wasn't until I got the acknowledgement from my wife of that sense of excellence that I finally felt complete. But see, sometimes we're constantly need-sucking people without even realizing it. And we're creating problems for ourselves because we have the wrong mix. In my latest book, The Architects of Extraordinary Team Culture, there's even a matrix of how to create the perfect team, which basically means it's predictable. That means you can predict whether your pizza is going to go well with your chocolate ice cream or not. And so, what we need to do to achieve a state where we worry less and live more is to basically accept that it's not about you. It is not about you. See, this is the problem. Most of the time you're thinking, oh, these people are making me small. They're taking away my emotional need for recognition. Oh, these people are, not letting me finish something. They're taking my need for achievement away. It's not about you. People are filling their own emotional drives to serve their lives. Even if it's a bully, even if it's somebody that looks at you and makes you small, that tells you that you're an ugly person or something, it's not about you. It is about other people filling their emotional needs. And so once we can accept that, once we can accept that we also are filling our emotional needs, once we accept that we accidentally go out and need suck people, now we can start using what is called predefined communication. Now, what would happen, for example, if you're in a group of people and maybe they're doing something and it makes you feel like, oh, maybe these people don't care about me. Maybe you're at work. Do you go up to these people and say, well, quite honestly, I just want to let you know that I feel that the things that you have said specifically indicate that you really don't care about me, and I honestly felt a little bit disrespected. Who does that? Nobody's going to do that. But what if instead of doing that, what if you said, oh, dudes, you need suck me, man. Now, I wouldn't recommend you say that to somebody that doesn't know what need sucking means. But think about it. You can have some fun. And you can communicate. Because people know what need sucking is once you share it. Which basically means share it with everybody. The more people that you share the idea of this concept of need sucking in your work, in your friends, with your family, whoever, now you can use the idea of predefined communication. You don't have to tell them how you feel. You just say, oh man, you need suck me. It's like, oh my gosh, really? I didn't know that. Because you know what? We don't. We're too busy filling our own emotional needs. We don't notice when we need suck people. We don't notice when we are taking away that emotional gratification from people. And so, the end result, worry less, live more. Thanks. All right, well that's it. See ya. Have a good time.